Hi, so today we're looking at this strange little exercise which I think is great, and I do this quite often, but it's not something you hear people really talking about, so I don't know if other people do it. I'm sure they probably do, but I haven't heard anyone talking about this one. And all it is it's playing lead, improvising lead on your guitar over the top of something where you don't know what the chords are, you don't know what the key is, you don't know anything about what you're playing over, and you're just not trying to find the key or find what the chords are. You're just trying to play in a really kind of free sort of manner, just so that you're responding to what you're hearing and how the notes you're playing sound. And you can obviously follow scale patterns and do all the usual licks and things that you might do, but the thing is, if you don't know what key you're in at the beginning and you're not particularly trying to find the key, then you're hearing these licks and things in a different way. It's quite hard to explain how this works really, but I've found it a really good exercise. Now you can do this with existing songs, so you could put a song on or put an album on and jam over the top. I've found doing that doesn't work so well with straightforward sort of standard songs like, I don't know, like say a Tom Petty song or something. It doesn't work quite so well with that because it's very quick and easy to establish what the key is when you're doing this. What works really well is to find something where the key is a little bit harder to determine. Something like the things I've done this with Miles Davis albums and things like that. Anything that's a sort of a fusion sound, that works well. And it works particularly well if you're playing over something where there's no lead guitar already. And instrumental things work really well for this. You can kind of do it over anything. The idea is you just improvise. You don't think, I'm going to find the key. You just play. And you respond to how your notes sound against the chords. And obviously some of the things you play at first are going to sound bad against the chords. Or maybe I shouldn't say bad, maybe I should say sound unexpected against the chords, because you can basically play any note over any chord and it will have an effect. It might not be a nice kind of harmonious sound that you'd expect, but it still has an effect, and that sound which maybe clashes a bit can be useful. You could then resolve it with the next note you play. So what I'm going to do now is record a chord sequence, maybe use a loop pedal, or maybe, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll play just a random chord sequence. I won't necessarily stay in one key. I'm just going to play and lots of chords, maybe change key a few times, and I'm going to record that now. I won't bother filming it. And then I'm going to come back either tomorrow or the next day, or maybe even in a week's time. I'm going to come back when I've completely forgotten what I played. So I'm just going to make something up. I'm not playing a song. And I'm going to come back and jam over the top and put that on this video as well, so you can see how this works. And it might sound horrendous, but we'll see how it goes. Right, so this is about a week later, and I haven't listened to that track that I jammed the other day. I do remember when I played it, I deliberately changed key throughout. So I just kind of jammed for, I don't know how long, 5 minutes or something, and I kept changing key and just putting some random chords in. So it'd probably be quite hard to solo over, but I don't want to try to find the key. I just want to play notes, let them ring, see how they sound with the backing. Might sound awful, it probably will, some of it, but I'm just going to try to demonstrate how this can be a useful sort of, practice tool. What I'm going to do is I've set up a quite sustained, kind of slightly overdriven sound, so I can let notes ring, and that helps with this as well. But anyway, I'll give it a go, see how it sounds. quite difficult to do. I mean, that I deliberately, when I recorded, I deliberately kept changing key, and I also deliberately put in some really weird chords, like with sort of heavily altered bass notes that don't really sound very nice. I just did that to make it more of a challenge for myself. So normally, when you do this, usually it's easier than what I just did then. Or I think it is anyway. So when I've done this in the past, it's been easier than that. But I wanted to do an extreme one just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Don't know how well that comes across really, because I'm going to play it back and have a look at it in a sec, but I bet it sounds awful, some of that. But there's little sort of things that I think I was probably doing there, and I'll look back at this and I'll sort of be able to analyse it a bit. But I think sometimes you land on a note that really clashes. You're nearly always going to be one fret away from a good note. Well, I think actually you could say 100% of the time, if you play a note that doesn't sound very good, a semitone above or below will sound okay. I'm pretty certain you can just rely on that. So if I land on a note, like that note, and it sounds awful with the chord, I'd just slide up or slide down one. Or what I was doing a lot then, I think, was bending up slightly. So I was doing a lot of semitone bends in that, from what I can remember, because I play a note that doesn't quite sound right and I just bend it up into the note that does sound right, as long as the chord hasn't changed, and it just creates tension. You can play any notes you like when you improvise, and if they're notes that don't really fit with the chord, they're tension notes. And when you bend them or slide them into notes that do fit with the chord, it's like the release of the tension. Have a go and let me know in the comments what you think. You might need to try it a few times if you haven't done it before, but I think it's useful. And obviously it's not something, I mean, I've just put this on YouTube, but it's not really something to play to other people, because invariably you're going to be hitting some really awful sounding notes like I did then. But just in your own practicing, maybe with headphones, just so only you can hear what you're doing, have a go. Maybe record yourself doing it. Okay, thanks for watching anyway, and click like if you like this one and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.